YouTube? Y'all know who this is, man. EK back in the building. Another day to be great. Let's get it, man. If you're a supporter, you already liked the video before it even started. But for my new viewers, show that free love and drop a like. Let me know how you feel in the comments as well when you're done or as you're watching the video. I always respond to every single comment, at least the ones that YouTube lets me see. As many of you may or may not know, adrenaline boosts have been confirmed to be in NBA 2K24 by multiple sources. Mostly people that have recently gotten to play NBA 2K24 or like at least a demo preview bare bones version of it offline at an event. Adrenaline is the little bars under your player, if you're not aware, that limit the amount of speed boosts that you can do on offense, which is basically just explosive launches, or the amount of reaches and jumps that you can do on defense. Ever since being added for the first time in NBA 2K23, they have been one of the most polarizing and controversial additions of all time, with a huge opinion split within the community. While there is endless arguments about this feature, today I'm going to try to do my best and lay out the most widespread points of view that address the biggest reasons for and against adrenaline in NBA 2K24 and future 2Ks going forward. Because once something like this becomes a staple feature in the game, it's certain to not be taken out anytime soon, and maybe ever. Of course, I'm gonna spit pure facts. Y'all know how I am. Give y'all my personal, educated, 400 IQ point of view, opinion on what I would do to please as many people as possible and have the best game that we possibly can. So let's get right into it. First off, we are going to start with the reasons that adrenaline is in the game in the first place, and if adrenaline did the job that it was supposed to or not. The reasons adrenaline was added was to combat over dribbling, cheese, and ball hogging. Those are the three main reasons. This was stated by the 2K devs on Twitter ahead of the game's release. Probably a lot of those tweets are deleted now, but I'm sure you can find them in videos. Supporters of adrenaline also bring up these 3 points 99% of the time. So the people that want it in the game, that's their 3 main reasons for it being in the game. An added bonus of it, and something that's quite overlooked for obvious reasons, was to reduce steal spam as well. But as many players are aware, steals are not only hard to get in general on NBA 2K23 for the most part, but the adrenaline doesn't really seem to affect it unless you're playing a lane. If you're trying to just rip and spam someone, the adrenaline doesn't make no type of difference. You're probably not going to get the steal anyways, and if you're reaching, you're getting burned by your defender regardless. So to address those points, let's start with over dribbling, or the act of dribbling for a long time with no repercussion. And the thing about over dribbling is that there's 2 vastly different groups of people that can be defined with this word. And a lot of people don't look at the actual right group when trying to nerf or remove or somehow change this concept of the game. The group of people that gets the biggest spotlight and all the hate, also a lot of love, but all the hate for quote-unquote over dribbling is the dribble gods. Like, you know, the people that do the crazy moves, the professor moves that are always going back and forth in the backcourt and in and out the paint, doing glitchy things, spinneroonies. You've seen those mixtape before. Everyone has. It's very popular in the community in terms of content. But the amount of players that actually play like this, as in they don't take the open shot when they're going for clips. Even if you have an open dunk to them or a 3, they're not taking it. If you literally put down your controller, they're going to keep dribbling. Like, that is their art and that is what they do. That is what you see and get labeled over dribbling. But in reality, 99.9% of over dribbling in the past 2Ks and in this one is people that are actively looking to score at any cost. Most players on NBA 2K are not that good at all. They're trying to score anything they can get. So when these players are allowed to move for longer, it increases their logically, it increases their chances to get a bucket. If you gave somebody a 100-second shot clock instead of a 10-second shot clock with the same abilities and no stamina decrease, obviously they're more likely to score in 100 seconds. No matter how bad they dribble, how bad they are able to shoot the ball, they're going to eventually get to a spot that they're comfortable from and probably score more often than they will with less time. So by limiting the time that somebody can have the ball in their hands and create, it creates more of a skill gap. And the thing that Adrenaline did was make the game less fun for the people that love to dribble and make these mixtapes, not for the people that abuse the game. The people that abuse the game are gonna now, instead of running, okay, they get into the paint. Instead of running out or spinning out the paint and wasting a stamina bar, they're just gonna walk back, scoot back. Y'all have seen it thousands of times on this game. You play perfect D on somebody, you box them, they're stuck under the rim, and they start going backwards. Everybody has seen this. What does a dribble god do? Dribble gods, they look to dribble and keep their handle going. All Adrenaline really accomplished was it severely limited the total amount of moves and movement that you can perform with the ball as a point guard. So now instead of a guard maybe looking to be more flashy or dribble, which a lot of players in real life do and a lot of players do on the game obviously, now you're forced to be score first, which is ironic because the feature of Adrenaline was added to encourage passing and ball movement. So it literally goes against what it was supposed to do. Adrenaline forces guards to just do basic moves and look to score the ball quick rather than creating for their team, moving around, trying to be a pass first point guard. You can't do that if you change direction twice or you walk to the side then walk again and you're already out of breath and dying. I will get more in depth into this in a second toward the end of the video, but to make it simple, we need to limit the ability of players that are able to dribble for a long time to score the ball. Not limit the ability of players to dribble. Because, of course, when you allow somebody like 2K22 to dribble for 24 seconds and they have a 99-3 and they have like the craziest dunks in the game, of course it's gonna be annoying and toxic. That's the problem. The problem is that they can do that and they're still a threat on offense. Not that they're actually dribbling. If you only have a 73 and a 70 dunk rating, but you can dribble all day, you have to be a very good player to capitalize off that. This directly ties into the second reason for Adrenaline to be added, which is to nerf the quote-unquote cheese in 2K. Now, in the background, I have my boy U-Bots, shout out to him by the way, stage clips playing, so I'll let y'all be the judge of how much Adrenaline in 2K23 has stopped the quote-unquote cheese, because I am somewhat suspicious that 99.9% of my audience thinks that the things he's doing are incredibly cheesy, toxic, overpowered, and game-breaking, but that's what you have to do to compete at the highest level in this game. Every 2K in the recent memory since 2K20 has had a left-right meta for competitive point guards that are trying to win at the highest level in their game modes or win in general, and that didn't change this year. If anything, nowadays you see almost nothing but Steve Francis size up left-right, De'Aaron Fox for big guards, T-Mac, stop and go stuff being utilized at the highest levels. 2K League, comp stage, events for the ones that don't get boosted. Fix your game, Ronnie. With only 3 bars to work with, everyone will only abuse the absolute best moves, and those moves just conveniently happen to be beneficial to the left-right playstyle. When guards are looking for a 3, they're not gonna go up down, they're gonna go left to right. And look what is in the game. There is SIGs that allow you to literally run left and right, and fading, which is not even a part of dribbling, even more so encourages that. So if you're loading into the game with SIGs that are not meta SIGs, and you have 3 adrenaline bars, and your opponent has 3 adrenaline bars, but they are using the overpowered stuff, the adrenaline actually puts you at a disadvantage, because you trying to create a different type of offense, you trying to create a different type of shot, you using different SIGs, little step backs or whatever you want to do, actually puts you at a disadvantage compared to the people quote-unquote cheesing the game. You end up wasting all of your adrenaline and not getting a bucket and scoring, and the opponent goes left-right. He doesn't need even 3 bars and just dunks it past you or fades away from 3. So the only thing Adrenaline did in regards to cheese this year was make guards actually have to sometimes enable their brain. Unlike in 2K22, where when you gotta stop in a competitive game, it was like, oh my goodness. Even though you can definitely argue that Adrenaline did put a small dent into the strength and overall power of point guards and cheese and whatnot, at what cost did it do it? At the cost of everybody now having to play the same? No difference in anyone's build, in anyone's play style, in anyone's SIGs? I don't think that's a game that we need to have. And before anyone even says anything about, oh, but I play this way, I play different, I'm a 5-1 post scorer, I got a 7-3 point guard, and I have Shaquille O'Neal, Kendrick Perkins dribble style on my guard, I'm a demon. Bro, I understand a lot of y'all play different. I love and respect that about people that do. The thing is very few people that play different are good enough to compete with even average players. And at the top of 2K, which I'm not saying everyone wants to be there, but the game is played a certain way. I want the game to be dynamic. I want people to enjoy watching the game on all levels and playing the game on all levels at the highest level that they can and show off their skills and their uniqueness. That is the beauty of basketball, in my opinion. But enough about that. This video is already way too long, and if you made it to this part, I don't know what to say. I love you and I appreciate you. Let's move on to the last point, ball hogging. This is obviously a non-issue for anybody that plays with their friends or a squad, or generally speaking, people that they know and have built a connection or a chemistry with on or off the game. It's mainly an issue for people that play with randoms in gamers like the theater, Lord forbid, park, or rec center. Oh Lord. And y'all are a big part of the community. People that play with randoms for whatever the reasons may be, and there's a lot of reasons, are a big part of the community. So I'm not going to ignore that. And because it's a complaint that people had in past 2Ks, because when someone was able, like in 2K22, dribble for 24 seconds, they didn't have a reason to pass the ball, really, if they were able to either score it or get a shot up, or just generally speaking, keep moving and creating offense. So did Adrenaline reduce ball hogging? It kind of did, but at the same time, I'm sure that anyone who has played with randoms this year, or still plays with them, in the comments let me know, can safely say that is not the problem with randoms this year. If you're playing with randoms, ball hogging is about to be the last of your concerns. People are a detriment in this game with their shooting ability, spacing, IQ, just being a bad teammate, being a liability on defense, etc. If anything, now when people ball hog and they have the ball in their hands, they're even less likely to score on your team. And when you're playing with randoms, everybody got to chip in or the boat's going down and everyone's going to sink with it. Adrenaline further reduces your chances of winning when bums who are a detriment to your team are out of adrenaline, because they're either going to chuck up a bad shot, get rid of the ball with no purpose, and either throw a turnover because they got scared or because they just don't care no more, or they're going to set you up with a purposeful pass for like a bump steal or something like that. And to add on to that, it's not related, but when you are the guy that's good on the team playing with bad players, and they actually do recognize that they're bad and they trust you with the ball and they want you to take over the game, it's now a lot harder for you to do that, especially in game modes with bad spacing like the rec center. You're less likely to be able to contribute to your team winning because you're just as limited as everybody else is and you can't take over. So after having said all that, at the end of the day, I feel like for NBA 2K23 specifically, one point is very oftentimes overlooked. It's the fact that while Adrenaline might have not made NBA 2K23, regardless of how you feel about NBA 2K23, whether you like it, love it, hate it, or kind of tolerate it, it might have not made this a good game. It might not even made the game better. But if you really think about how this game is played and how it's set up, I feel like it prevented the game from being unplayable. So it prevented the game from being worse. It didn't push us into a good direction, but it prevented us from falling into the pit. And what I mean by that is, sit back and look at how NBA 2K23 is played on a big scale. What are 99% of players doing on this game? Small PGs running left, right with Steve Francis or some other SIGs, or tall guards doing step back, stop and goes, De'Aaron Fox, Tracy McGrady. You know how people play on this game. Dunking the whole game, fading from three. There's not a whole lot to do. Now, the only separating factor between somebody that's good and bad in this game really is how they're able to manage their adrenaline, if you really think about it. Because a bad player runs out of adrenaline and they need to rely on other people on their team or something else to score, whereas a good quote-unquote player knows how to manage it and can create a shot in less dribble moves, which might be involving using the most overpowered SIGs and the most overpowered like jump shots and builds and dunks. But at the end of the day, it does create some form of separation. In this game, if you did not limit people's ability to speed boost and stop and go and do all this other stuff, this game would be worse. But the more you limit it, it doesn't necessarily make the game better. So that's why I hate this argument. People think that adrenaline is the end-all be-all with 2K, when it is not. It's the gameplay, it's the game engine, the build system, very importantly, the way that players interact with each other on body ups and dunks, and how defense is played. There's just 1,000 things that we need to think about and that we need to be telling the devs about, rather than adrenaline, because if their head is going to be spinning from everybody crying about adrenaline, they're going to be just trying to do something with that and not addressing the root of the problem. To wrap up and summarize this video, here is my official suggestion on what adrenaline should be. And this is if the 2K devs came to me today and said, look, you're going to be our gameplay director for NBA 2K24, and adrenaline is going to be in the game. That's it. What do you want to do with it? And also, we're going to consider that the game, while it is probably going to be at least somewhat different than NBA 2K23, 2K never makes insane, massive changes from year to year. At least not anymore, not over the past couple of years. So we're just going to say that this game is going to be similar with some minor changes to dribbling, some minor changes to the build system, whatever. Ideally, I want the adrenaline bars to represent the build that they are on. A player that is an offensive star, for example, with amazing ball control and stamina and all that, but with no defense, should have more than 3 bars on offense, but less than 3 on defense. That makes sense, right? This can be done in different ways. Like I said, depending on what the build system is going to be in the game and how they're going to allow you to set up your build. But generally speaking, the badge handles for days has been in the game since 2K20, so I assume it's going to be making a return. It's a pretty basic to understand badge. Just gives you more stamina for dribbling. So adrenaline is something that's utilized strictly for player movement, at least at this point in the game. So linking it to handles for days is what I would do. Whether you want to do it +1 adrenaline bar per tier, or like +1 for silver and +2 for Hall of Fame, and then the other 2 levels don't give you anything. Like I said, the attributes on how the game is set up right now, that would probably make the most sense. And also the base adrenaline. So say somebody makes a lockdown with no ball control, just a tiny bit of passing and whatnot, you would have 1 adrenaline bar, you know, or 2 or something like that. Like, lower the base for people that don't have playmaking and raise it for people that spend a lot of badge points on playmaking. This would have very profound effects, because an issue we have in the game right now is that the smallest guard that spent all of his attributes on 99 ball control, and if you've ever tried to make a build with 99 ball control, you know that that build literally can't do anything else. Nothing. Has the same amount of bars that a 6'9" with 87 ball control and 75 speed with ball, that also has insane defense, insane shooting, and insane dunking, and is big as heck. Yeah, they have the same amount of bars. Like, this would fix that. That already would make a big positive difference in the game. This will encourage people who actually truly want to dribble and have the ability to keep comboing. You'd have to make a build that has those skills. And making builds like that would obviously make your other attributes less OP, because you'd have to invest more into the ball control and whatever other stats they want to associate with that, and badges and whatnot. Kind of how only pure playmakers had the max dribbling stamina and all the Hall of Fame playmaking badges in the past 2Ks, which most of the community refers to as good 2Ks at this point. So hopefully we can agree on that. Pure playmakers were really good at dribbling at the cost of not being incredible in any other area. And as long as people are cool with that, I think that's a great solution. The exact same thing can be done to represent defensive adrenaline by bringing back a badge like Tireless Defender, or linking it to another defensive badge, maybe like your highest defensive badge level, so gold, Hall of Fame, silver, whatever would determine how much you have on defense. And defensive adrenaline is a whole untapped conversation, because nobody cares about it this year. But if they make steals more prominent, like they should, or especially make steals more skill based with like a little meter or like a specific window where you have to time it at, people will be reaching more. So that would make a huge difference in the game defensively. This simple rework instantly makes all these all-around demigod builds, the 6'9s, the 6'3s with 99 steal, all of that, it makes them way less meta-dominant and overpowered because, yeah, they would still be good with how the game is set up right now. It gives people a chance to operate with other types of builds, and it prevents somebody from coming out the corner with a 70 ball control and still having 3 stamina bars, or like somebody that's like a center or something like that still being able to get the explosive standstill launches. If nothing was changed from 2K23 except 6'9s having only 2 stamina bars this year, the game would already be twice as good from like an enjoyment perspective. You would already see way more builds. You'd see way more different playstyles from just that one change, because 2 stamina bars and 3 is a huge difference, let alone something like 1. I'm not saying a 6'9 should have 1, but realistically, it's a big build that's supposed to be slow and isn't the best at handling the ball. Let me know how y'all think, man. This video took a little bit of time to make. If you made it to the end, I appreciate y'all, man. Let's have a great year in NBA 2K24, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. Peace.